Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is December 28th, 2025. And I'm going to tell you about the club that's making the biggest push to sign Ter Stegen during the winter transfer market. Also, media outlets in Saudi Arabia linking Joao Cancelo with a return to Barcelona. And finally, I'm going to tell you about the Benfica defender that's currently being linked to Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Bo. We'll begin this video with the news that there is a club that's making the biggest push for Ter Stegen, and I'm gonna tell you who it is. Now, as you know by now, Ter Stegen could be on the exit ramp or is on the exit ramp, even though Barcelona are not trying to force Ter Stegen out. They, of course, they prefer that he would leave, given that he does have an incredibly high salary. Plus, Joan Garcia is the number one now, so it doesn't make sense to retain a goalkeeper with such a high salary. But nonetheless, Barcelona would prefer him to leave. Ter Stegen needs minutes because, as Nagelsmann has made it very clear, and as the sporting director of the German national team has made it very clear, that if Ter Stegen wants to start for Germany in the 2026 World Cup, he's going to have to look for minutes somewhere else. So the question is, of course, where will Ter Stegen go? Now, so far, there's been a lot of clubs who have shown interest in Ter Stegen, but nobody has actually made offers, concrete offers, to take the German goalkeeper. And now it's being revealed that it is Girona who are making the biggest push to sign Ter Stegen during this winter transfer market. Now, Girona believe that signing Ter Stegen would be a transformational signing, both on and off the pitch. Of course, on the pitch, they would get a world-class goalkeeper. Off the pitch, they would get someone with, a lot of marketing potential, I guess, more media attention, things like that. Also, Girona do have an excellent relationship with Barcelona. So if Ter Stegen does green light this operation, it will be a pretty easy transfer. However, of course, the problem is whether Ter Stegen is going to want to go to a club like Girona. Because as I told you in yesterday's video, it seems that Ter Stegen would prefer to go to, a top-tier club, a club where he can compete for important trophies. And Girona are not really there. Now, Girona are trying to convince Ter Stegen with two things. Of course, minutes, because he needs them. He needs to be playing minutes. And number two, with location. Because as you know, or as you might know, Ter Stegen got divorced recently. So he's currently sharing custody of his children with his ex-wife who lives in Barcelona. So if he goes somewhere else to another country, he's not going to be able to see his kids that often, as opposed to if he stays with Barcelona. Or at least in Girona, which Girona is only like 40 minutes by train outside of Barcelona, then it won't be as bad. Now, for now, it's just Girona who are showing interest in the goalkeeper. We'll see what Ter Stegen's response is. My feeling, I just don't see Ter Stegen wanting to go Girona, or who knows? Maybe if the winter transfer market comes and no other club makes any offers, maybe Ter Stegen will think, hey, I have to, otherwise I won't be starting in the World Cup, something that he's been waiting for his entire career. Now, on to the next bit of news, because Saudi media outlets are linking Joao Cancelo with a return to Barcelona. Now, as you know, Joao Cancelo signed with Al Hilal. He hasn't had a very good time in Saudi Arabia. In fact, this season he's only had 2 appearances, and his coach Inzaghi has completely ruled him out of his plans. He doesn't count on Joao Cancelo, and they say, personally speaking, Joao Cancelo is not happy in Saudi Arabia. And as such, he wants to come back to Europe, or go back to Europe, in preparation, of course, for the 2026 World Cup. And it's reported that Cancelo has already called his agent, Pini Zahabi, who's the same agent as Flick and Robert Lewandowski, and told him, hey, man, get me a club. Actually, sorry, it's Jorge Mendes, not Pini Zahabi. And told him, hey, look for a European club, a top European club where I can go back to Europe and be ready for the 2026 World Cup. Now, Saudi outlets are linking Joao Cancelo, saying that Barcelona could be a destination for him, since Barcelona are looking for a fullback, someone that can compete with Koundé and maybe even Balde, if it's someone that can play on both sides, which is what Joao Cancelo can do. But I'm here to tell you that there's no truth to those reports. Time and time again, Barcelona, whenever Cancelo has been linked with a return, Barcelona have always said no. They're thankful for him coming on loan, but that's about it. They're not looking to bring Cancelo back. By the way, what a waste of talent. Him and Felix. I guess there's a curse with the name Joao because, I mean, Man City didn't want him. He went on loan to Bayern. Bayern didn't want to keep him. He came on loan to Barca. Barca didn't want to keep him. He went to Al Hilal. Now Al Hilal don't want him either. I mean, what a waste of talent. Same thing with Joao Felix, right? He failed at Atletico Madrid, failed at Chelsea, failed at Barca, went to Chelsea again, failed again, went to AC Milan, failed there. Now he's in Saudi. We'll see if that sticks. What a mess. Two incredibly talented players, and they just cannot seem to perform. I don't know what it is. Anyways, on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, it remains Barcelona's number one priority. Their top priority right now is the contract renewal of Hansi Flick. Now that Barcelona have gotten a lot of the players' contract renewals out of the way, with Eddie Garcia being the most recent one, their full focus now is on Hansi Flick, who recently renewed his contract back in 2025. Well, it is 2025. At the end of the season, of last season, and he extended it until 2027. But now Barcelona's priority is to extend Hansi Flick's contract until 2028. Now, Barcelona have already held informal talks with Hansi Flick's agent, Pini Zahavi, to let him know that, hey, we want to renew Hansi Flick. However, for now, Flick's response is that he is not in a rush to renew his contract. As we know, Flick, from day one, he wants to go season by season. He wants to see how the team is doing, how they're responding, and whether, maybe if his time is up or the team is no longer responding, then he could leave. Also, like he said before, he is 61 years old. He's not looking to coach for very long. He wants to spend time with his grandkids and his family. So for now, he's not in a rush. So Barcelona will have to be patient because even though it's their top priority, Flick is not in a rush. Now, on to the next bit of news because there's a Benfica defender currently being linked with Barcelona. Now, as you know, Barcelona are looking to sign a center back in the summer transfer market, like a long-term signing. They might sign someone in the winter transfer market, but that will be an emergency signing, and that's still a question mark. That's still a maybe. We still don't know if that's going to happen or not, but the plans for the summer is to sign someone 100%. And, of course, we've talked about several names that have been added to the list, and now there's a Benfica defender currently being linked with Barcelona, and it's no other than Tomas Araujo. Now, if you don't know who Tomas Araujo is, he's a 23-year-old center back, currently plowing his trade at Benfica. He's right-footed, but he can play both on the right, on the left, and also as a right back. He has a contract with Benfica until 2029, and he has a market value of around 28 million euros. Now, Tomas Araujo is someone who has the technical ability and pace to be able to play for Barcelona. He also has very good positional awareness, and he's become, a mainstay of Benfica because he's that good. And while his agent, Ali Barat, recently had an interview with Fabrizio Romano, during which he said the following. Tomas has qualities that modern coaches look for because many teams today play with a very high defensive line. Oh no, it's only Flick who does that. He's crazy. Sorry, I had to get that one in. Especially clubs like Barcelona. I'm convinced that many big clubs will be interested in Tomas again in the summer. So, Tomas's agent pretty much low-key offering a player to Barcelona. This doesn't mean that Barcelona have him on his list. This is just his agent saying that Tomas could play in Barcelona and he has the qualities to succeed in Barcelona under Hansi Flick's system. And of course, my question to you is, do you think Barcelona should consider Tomas Araujo? Yes, no? Let me know down below in the comment section. Anyways, that is all for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, be scarce.